Hi folks, co-tutor here and my name is Anil Deshpande. So hi folks, welcome to the another edition of Kotlin Fundamentals tutorials. We will just continue to explore functions in this video. So let's get started. So we have this thing called as expression function. So what is a expression function? In this particular class called as person, I have variable called as age, basically holds the integer data that is representing the age of the person. Well, I want to have a method called as isMiner, which basically returns me true or false depending upon whatever the value that this particular age holds. So let me go down here and let me write a function here. Function isMiner. This returns a boolean, and what is the function? If say this dot age, it's an optional variable, so dot compare to less than 18 after comparison with 18, if it is less than 0, that basically means this is basically true, and else return false. So what I can now do here is print person dot first name is, I can write person dot isMiner, and if I run this, it will basically give me a true or false depending upon whatever the value of the age is. So in this case, if it is 19, it is giving me a false value. If it is say 15, this is going to give me a true value. Now the thing is, this particular body of the function looks pretty long. So instead of doing all this, which is pretty redundant, I can just simply return this would still give me same result. But this is not it. Instead of writing a body and just returning a expression, what I can do is I can just assign the expression itself to the function. So the whole function body becomes pretty small. These kind of functions are written when you have minor functionality to implement. So it is just evaluating some kind of a expression, and that expression return itself is the return type of the function. I can just go ahead and create another function here. So let me call it as function is e1, and what this function does is it returns me a boolean. It needs to take number, and what I have to do is number mod 2. If it is equal to 0, that basically means the number is even, otherwise it is odd. So what I can do is println is even and just pass a number, and if I run this, it just give me a false because 19 is odd, and if I say give a even number, gives me a true. So once again, it is a simple expression. I am assigning that particular expression to the function itself. So in this way, you can pretty much reduce the overall number of lines that you have to write to define a function. And that is where you will start seeing the meaning behind when somebody says Kotlin is not as ceremonial as Java. Another concept that I want to introduce in this video is the concept of variable arguments to the function. As name indicates, variable argument is nothing but sending multiple arguments through a one single parameter name. So what exactly do I mean by that? Let me write a function called as sum, and what this sum does is it takes numbers which is of type int and returns me a integer. Okay, now this particular numbers is not just a int, it is actually a array of integer. This is much better way of writing it, but instead of that, you will write where args and then write numbers and then write int, and here you can just write a basic functionality to calculate the sum of all the numbers that you would be passing in the numbers. Now how to use this? I can write just print sum, call the function here, and I can just pass 1 2 3 4 5 6 here, and if I run this, it will give me the sum. So you can see here that the numbers is of type variable arguments, and if I just send 1 also, it is still perfectly fine. It will just give me sum as 1, or I can send different argument size and my function would still work perfectly fine. And this is the whole advantage of using variable argument. This is also a very commonly used feature in Kotlin. It just helps you to make your function little bit more versatile. But one thing that you should remember while working with variable argument is you can only have one variable argument as the parameter to a function. I cannot declare another variable argument of say float numbers. This will not work. This will give compile time error saying that multiple variable argument parameters are prohibited. Okay, what if I want to send one of the argument as the variable argument, but the other one could be a normal argument? So I could be sending a name here which is of type string. Is it possible? At least from the definition perspective, looks like there are no compilation errors, but as you can see here, there is a compile time error here. No value passed for the parameter name. So basically what it is complaining is this parameter is not being passed. So let me just put a comma here and pass a name here. It will once again give a compile time error. It is trying to basically assume this to be part of the variable argument that you are passing as the first parameter. So to differentiate that these are the variable arguments and this is a separate second parameter, you have to use the named argument concept that I had discussed earlier in the previous video. So what do I mean by that? If I just put name equals to Anil, then you will see that the compilation error that we were seeing just goes away. Now what if this particular argument was written as the first argument? Is it going to create any issue? So looks like there is an issue. It is saying that integer literal cannot conform to the expected type string. So it is assuming that this has to be of type string. So let me put this under the double quotes and you can immediately see that I don't have to use the named parameter type here in this case, and if you use that, actually it is going to give a compile time error. If your variable arguments are first, then you will be forced to use the named argument way of passing the parameters. This is something that you should be aware while working with variable arguments to a function. Another important aspect that you should remember is, so far our functions, whenever they are returning, they need to declare the return type. But what if your function doesn't return anything? In Kotlin, we use something called as unit that is similar to void. So what this basically means is you can basically stop returning anything from that particular function, or you can just write simple return without specifying the value that you want to return from that particular function. In Kotlin, the way you use functions and the various type of functions that are available are pretty huge. This is just tip of the iceberg. You will hear terms like infix functions, inline functions, lambda functions, higher order functions, extension functions. I think if I start talking about all of those things now, you may actually get confused because you need some of the other core concepts to understand them. So what I will do is I will just stop covering functions here and move on to talking about some of the other concepts, and whenever I cover a particular concept and if I feel that it is somehow relevant that I can introduce the functions there, then we will be visiting functions every now and then throughout the tutorial. So stay tuned for the future videos. That brings us to the end of this particular video. Don't forget to like, comment, share the video and subscribe to the channel. Take care. Bye.